Hi, friends. I'm Katie.
And I'm Lauren, and welcome to Okay, but Did You Know? A podcast where we talk about the TV and media that we love with a friend who's never seen it before.
Today, we're recapping and chatting about Bob's Burgers Season 6, Episode 7, The Gene and Courtney Show, and Episode 8, Sexy Dance Healing. We always start off with our synopsis, so here is The Gene and Courtney Show. Tina is running the Donations for Carnations Valentine's fundraiser and reminds her dad that he was supposed to pre-order the carnations. He obviously didn't, and Bob has to figure out how to get the carnations only days before Valentine's Day. Jean and Courtney entertain their class, riffing during the morning announcements from Mrs. LeBon's. Mr. Grant hears the continuation in the hallway and convinces them to do the morning announcements instead. They start their rest of the morning announcements and are a hit. Tina starts obsessing over if she received any carnations and opens the box to find out. She loses control and opens all of the Valentines and needs help to get them matched. Jean and Courtney start dating again, but it affects their performance poorly. Linda and Louise get all of the Valentines matched just in time, and Bob is able to get the carnations with help from Teddy. Courtney breaks up with Jean to keep the show going, and Jimmy Jr. surprises Tina with a rose, and they kiss. And as always, we start off with our puns. What did you get for the vacant storefront?
Happily Ever Actor Casting Agency.
Nice.
It works very well for our podcast.
It does. And then we have our pest control truck.
Squish, squish, bang, bang, pest control.
The things you have had to say because we do this.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, in the last episode, you did go on a rant and describe nearly flawlessly the family tree of Once Upon a Time, so I think we're even.
Look, it just proves I'm paying attention.
That's true.
If I can go into a detailed rant about Rumpelstiltskin and Peter Pan and their relationship, I think I'm paying very close attention.
I think so.
And we have a burger of the day.
We did?
Yes.
I think I missed it.
Aw, that's a first.
Yeah, I don't think I caught it. I don't have one written down.
It's Be My Valentine burger, and it's, of course, Valen and time, like the herb.
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to be a phrase on Be My Valentine.
Yeah, I did not catch that.
That is a first.
I must have been writing something down while they showed it.
Oh, wow. That never happens.
I know, right?
And then we have Mr. Grant returns, and that's played by Will Forte. We've had, of course, a lot of our characters come back, but pretty much everyone, and this is like their third or fourth appearance by this time.
Yeah.
This isn't very, very new. This is the first holiday-themed episode to air on the holiday being celebrated.
Nice.
This was aired on February 14th, 2016.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first episode in which the Pedophile, the flower shop across the road from Bob's Burgers on Ocean Avenue, is visited by a character and seen from the inside.
That is a terrible, terrible name.
That is a horrible name, but you know what's really funny?
What?
You can buy that property on the Bob's Burgers Monopoly.
Of course. What? Wow.
It's on the Bob's Burgers Monopoly.
Okay.
I own it.
That's a choice.
Did we actually have heard Mrs. LeBon's morning announcements before? And that was during Work Hard or Die Trying Girl. Because that's when she was announcing about the fall musical. This episode marks the third time Tina and Jimmy Jr. kiss. And of course, Jean and Courtney did kiss each other in Work Hard or Die Trying Girl. And this is the first time that the front door of the apartment has a letterbox. It's not previously in other episodes. So they have a letterbox now. So they've added how they actually get there, which is so funny to me because the mailman, Mike the mailman, just comes into Bob's Burgers and hands their stuff over all the time. But yeah, just not too much on this episode. I have a feeling we're going to have more fun talking about it. I didn't take a ton of notes for this one.
I did, weirdly enough.
That's good because I didn't. So awesome.
we have some stuff. I was like, no, Bob, you forgot the flowers because I mean, obviously, we need something for the plot to happen.
Oh, yeah.
But I loved in Miss LeBon's first announcement. The weather forecast is meh.
I like LeBon's.
She, I would say she did her best, but I don't really know if that's true.
I mean, yeah.
I was with Jean, though. Those announcements were horrifyingly slow.
They take forever.
They do. And, Jean and Courtney, them working together was very cute. And I could see, and I was at the very beginning, I see this falling apart quickly and terribly, like all of Jean's musical endeavors. And this one, I would say, probably was the least, terrible breakdown of his musical
Yeah.
attempt, but a lot of like them taking over parts of the announcements reminded me, because my high school had a student run program for the announcements for, I mean, the entirety of the time that I was there. I think they had to do like, for in case you were in a room that like didn't get access to it, they did do like, I feel like the special, like the extremely important ones over like the speakers. But my school had something called the morning. It was called the morning show.
Oh yeah, my middle school had one too. I was on it.
Yeah, nice.
I did it too.
For hours, you had to be in like the video production classes. You had to get through advanced video production, and then like basically like you just had to like talk to the teacher about like if there was space or if you could get into the schedule for the class. That was the morning show, and it was really, I mean, it was really cool. They did a lot of cool skits. They did, and if you were, for a lot of us in the advanced video production class, some of our videos got featured because they had space in the morning show for like, you know, little skits and stuff here and there just to put in, because they, to make it more interesting. And it was a really cool thing. Like, it was like very sought after to be a part of it. But the issue was, a friend of mine, he was trying, like he did the video production classes really early on, so he could have the time to kind of fit in his schedule, the morning show. And so remember, I've talked about that my school had those TVs, like the terrible tube TVs mounted onto the wall.
Ours did
since
too.
they were, you know, they were connected through a wire into the system. It was very easy that all you had to do was turn the TV on to the right channel and it would just go. But my senior year, they got rid of all of them and put in like newer like flat screen LED TVs that no longer had that same physical connection to like the network. So my senior year, so my friend, he finally got into it senior year, and they still had it and they still did it. But the way that they distributed it was that it was like on like a server folder that it was kind of up to the teacher's discretion at third period if they wanted to show it or not.
Ooh.
So like that's why like the very important announcements went on the overhead, but like the announcements, it was kind of like the fun stuff, like you know what the lunch was, or like there was like any like, you know, big announcements or some like an interview with someone from like the play or whatever. All of that was kind of up to your teacher's discretion, and most of them just opted not to do it.
Which is really sad. Like, I feel like some of our older style things that we did when we were younger, kids are missing out now because everything's on laptops or this or that. I remember we had our big, you knew you were having a good day if the TV was rolled in, tube TV rolled in with a VCR.
If it was rolled in, or contrarily, if it was already in the room plugged in, you walked in and you could hear that static.
You could hear the static. But I definitely remember having to have the TV on a certain channel in the classroom and at home, because you had to be channel 3 or channel 4 to do certain things.
Otherwise, it didn't work.
It did not work. And then we also, I really loved it when I was in 6th grade. Our computer lab was still like the old computers that still took floppy disks. We didn't have USBs yet. And so when I was in 6th grade, my computer class, everything took floppy disk. And we used to play the cutest little games on these computers. And it was like my favorite thing to do because they taught us how to put together email and all this stuff. But then they also had a whole nother class with the same computers that was just typing. I actually had typing class.
Yep, I took that in high school.
I did that in 6th grade.
Nice.
And 7th.
Yeah, my school didn't offer that until we had computer class where like, and like my school, like, so computer class in like 6th and 7th grade was like, I mean, it was a little bit of like kind of like, I don't know what, it was like study skills a little bit, and like they were teaching you how to use a word processor, how to create a PowerPoint, how to look up stuff online. So it was kind of like, I think it was 7th and 8th grade had computer class, because I think 6th grade was when we still had library, which is a lot about like research and how to like use the library and how to find everything. But I really miss the fighting over the privilege of getting to write on the overhead projector.
Oh my god, same.
Like the smartboard was very similar in the aspect.
The smartboard.
There was the fighting over who got to recalibrate it, because you had to recalibrate it every freaking day. But there was just multiple times a day. And when I was teaching the current, I mean, even now, really, the projectors they use now are not any easier to use. But the fighting over the overhead projector was really, that was because when you got to like, you got to write something, or you got to erase what was on like the cellophane or whatever, that the plastic, like that was a good day in school.
It was so much fun because then you could feel the heat coming off of the thing while you're writing on it with your teacher's like skinny little markers.
You could like watch like the shadow of your hand up on the screen.
Yep. I'm now realizing
we sound ancient.
I know. I'm sitting here realizing, I'm like, to any listener who doesn't know what a fucking floppy disk is, please Google.
No,
I
it is
don't.
not. It is not a physical version of the save button.
Nope. Just my brain.
But
I'm
like,
now
it's
realizing some people will hear this and go, "What's a floppy disk?"
yeah. Some people will, because like I would say our demographic is mostly people our own age and
But there's
older.
still,
There are definitely younger people that are listening to this, and like I think about it because like I said, I did used to be a teacher, so I saw the kind of that transitional period from like what we used
hmm
into like now with like everyone having a Chromebook and like the new kinds of overhead projectors and everything.
something about the physical like just works better in my
Yeah,
opinion.
like because when I was student teaching, the kids all had laptops, so but I asked my CT, how do you want me to assign this essay? Should they handwrite it or should they type it? And she, like there were a few kids that had IEPs, so they were allowed to type it, but she's like, honestly, I think if you want their best work, make them handwrite it. And like that was not the standard for the school. They wanted kids to use the computers they weren't going to email it to me. They would have had to print it out. But like she was like, have them handwrite it. It'll be like it'll be hard. You'll burn your eyes out reading their handwriting. And she wasn't wrong. But
But they need that practice. You
they
can't
need that.
type everything in like.
Exactly. You need practice with the handwriting, and she's like, I think they're gonna have a lot more thoughtful things to say about the book if they write it out by hand. And she wasn't wrong. I had a lot of really good essays came through because I think I was there for the persuasive writing unit,
Ooh, I like
and that was
persuasive writing.
it's a lot of fun to see what seventh graders come up with.
How did you feel about watching Tina kind of lose her mind over the Valentines?
I mean, it was pretty on par with what you expect. I did write down uh I wrote down, Tina, don't feel sneaky around Louise. She literally could not care less about you wanting to break into the carnation box.
Yeah, Louise
Like
is there to help.
like that this is what your sister is here for. I was like, no, you opened the Valentines, but I was like, I'm with Louise. Putting the addressee name on just the envelope and the addressor name just on the card is a very terrible system.
Yes.
That's not gonna work there, but I mean, it's a very appropriate teenage girl thing to be like, who sent me? Like, if you're the one in charge of the box, you want to know if you got any.
See, and it's funny. So when I was in high school, our chorus, I was in chorus only 1 year. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
continue it after that because my scheduling with other things that I was in just
Yeah.
didn't match up.
Mm-hmm.
I really chose academics and leadership stuff over singing,
That's fair.
which made sense at the time because I
Mm-hmm.
mean I moved on a few years, like my senior year, to do academic decathlon and
Yeah.
won multiple awards. First,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I had like a couple of first place and a third place.
Yeah.
Making third place in art
Mm-hmm.
for academic decathlon when the topic for that year was the colonization of Africa, I am going to be proud of myself for because
I am
that
proud of
was
you.
a feat.
I'm proud of you for that.
That was hard.
Yeah.
I got first in speech.
Nice.
I'm very good at convincing people of things because you had to do a 5-minute prepared
Okay.
and I think it was like 1 or 2 minute impromptu.
Okay.
I got first place.
Nice.
But we did the carnation fundraiser. Like
Mhm.
chorus is the one that did it. Don't ask me what it was for. I don't remember. And I remember it was actually really sweet. I sold a ton of carnations, and there was one guy who did actually buy from me, but we don't
Aw.
see the information. Everything goes on the piece of paper in the card, goes in. Like we don't
Mhm.
see it.
Yeah.
And then someone else, like volunteers, put them together and get
Mhm.
everything put together,
Yeah.
and then we deliver them. Like once we have them, he wrote
Mhm.
it out to himself.
Oh
And
no.
so whenever, no, it's actually really sweet. I don't remember his name, but we were good
Mhm.
friends. So whenever I delivered his carnation to him, he turns around and goes, "Oh, okay," and handed it right back to me.
Aw.
It was the sweetest fucking thing. I
That's
can't
so
remember his
cute.
name, which really, really bugs me that I can't remember his name right now. I mean,
Mhm.
this was also, fuck,
Don't do that math. It's gonna hurt.
16 years ago.
Ah.
But I thought that was a really good way of doing that. It was
Yeah.
really sweet because he was the only one to have got me a carnation
Aw.
because I was selling them. I don't think
Mhm.
I was really dating at the time.
Yeah.
And I was a freshman in high school, but he did. He bought one from
Aw.
me, put his own name so he could turn around and just hand it straight to me when I delivered it to him. I thought that was smooth as a
That actually was very smooth. I thought
14-year-old.
when you said he addressed it
15.
to himself, I thought that was by accident.
No, he wanted to make sure he could hand it to me.
Oh, that's cute. That's actually very
He was
cute.
sweet.
Yeah,
We weren't compatible. He carried a Bible around every day at school.
Oof, no.
He was very sweet. Not compatible at all.
Not at all. No, my theater department, we didn't. I mean, there. I think someone. I'm gonna go with the student council. Probably did like a carnation thing that like wasn't really a huge, like for Valentine's Day, that wasn't a huge fundraiser that people really participated in. My theater department did something called Hugs and Kisses, which I'm assuming the money went just back into the theater department. I would assume.
Okay.
So what it was basically, to be fair, it was the people that bought the hugs and bought the stuff to put into it ended up buying them anyway, because basically the students of the theater department were encouraged to bring in like a bag of like Hershey's Kisses or something like that, and
Okay.
then whoever did the actual making of these things would put together these little bags of the kisses with like a card on it, that at the performances people that are there can buy a bag and like write like a little encouraging note or whatever on the card to send to a student in the play or in the musical.
Aw, that's
So like
sweet.
that way you can get like encouragement from like the people that are there to see you. And it's like we got them during intermission usually. I'm assuming the money went back into the theater department, but ultimately what ended up happening was like our parents buy the big bags of kisses to bring, and then they buy them again to give us. I still have all the cards though from all the ones that I got from like
Aw.
my parents. I think my grandma came a couple times. I had some teachers that came, stuff like that. Like it was like just nice. Like, you know, my friend's mom would send me one, stuff like that.
That's a good like community thing, honestly. Like
It's just
supporting the
really
children in your community.
exactly. It's just it was a very cute system, and I think it relieves the pressure because also Hugs and Kisses is a lot easier than flowers, I would say, because also like
Oh yeah,
not everyone got flowers at the performances, also because flowers are expensive.
they are. It was interesting seeing Jean actually liking Courtney this time.
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, at the very beginning, I was like, oh, that high five has too much spit on it. No, this is not okay.
Yeah, no, there is a such thing as too much spit.
There is a thing as too much spit. But I'm just now reading what I wrote when
Oh God.
when Courtney's dad was like kind of giving them a talk at the first time he drove them to school. I wrote, Courtney's dad, stop trying to insert yourself. I know how I
wrote there, right?
I know how I meant it.
I know how you meant it too, but we both know how that sounds.
Yes, we are both very well aware of how that sounds. Please stop trying to insert yourself in your child's activity.
That still sounds bad.
You know what? I'm gonna stop talking and move on.
Please.
No, not with the middle school kissing was the next thing. It was the next thing about like about Jean and Courtney, because I was like it was cute, but also why was she kissing with the necklace still in her mouth?
Because it's middle school.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about this with Bob trying to get the flowers. Wait, don't hang up. I'm dying.
I love Bob. Bob is a lot of fun in this one. But then like Teddy kind of accidentally screwing him over where he's like, he'll pay anything, and Bob's like, shut up.
But he got at least he was his savior, but yeah, he made him definitely overpay for those flowers, because it was like a small order fee, a rush fee, a because you're standing here fee kind of thing. But like, but he did come in clutch though with the black market of florist sales, because
I don't know if that was black market. I think that was just a flower market.
I think it was, but it ended up being.
Bob walks in on Valentine's Day.
It ended up being black market because it was a little under the table.
Mm-hmm. They're like, put money in my hand, money in my hand.
Yep.
Because you're supposed to have a florist license.
Yes, I would imagine so. Much like you're supposed to have like a restaurateur license to buy things from like Restaurant Depot.
Yes. I wonder how I can get one of those.
Yeah.
Just saying. Restaurant Depot's awesome.
Yes, it is. I did love that the fundraiser was to end world hunger and or fix the parking lot.
Let's fix the parking lot.
Very important things to be fixing here. But then when was it Ms. Merkin? Is that her name?
Yeah.
The music teacher with the bongos. I wrote down, "Hello, Leonard, do you like my bongos?"
I like Miss Merkin. She's sweet. Every time she's there, you're just like, okay. Speaking of the teachers, do you know who voices LeBons?
That's got to be H. John Benjamin.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure
it has to be.
It is him.
Yeah. But Miss Merkin, she's well-meaning. Like she's never intentionally screwing anybody over. She's you need help? Okay. What you need me here? Okay. Like she's just kind of always there. There's really nothing wrong against her. But when the Will Forte character, what's his name in this one?
Mr. Grant.
Mr. Grant, when he says to Jean and Courtney that they have to pick, they can't use a relationship in their performance, and he uses Donnie and Marie Osmond as an example, and I just went, weren't Donnie and Marie Osmond's siblings?
Oh yeah, they were.
They are.
Okay.
That was a family group.
Oh no.
Yeah, like I looked it up.
I didn't pick up on that.
Donny Osmond's wife was not Marie.
I did not pick up on that.
I'll double check, but I'm fairly certain I was correct there.
I don't know how to feel right now.
I mean, that was clearly the joke that he was making, though, or that they were making, that this guy is such. This guy is just so ridiculous. Yeah, Donny Osmond's wife's name is Debbie.
That's a fun time
amongst the siblings.
Talking about incest.
Yeah, like without context, that sounds awful. But yes,
does.
Yes, Donny and Marie Osmond are in fact siblings.
Any other thoughts or notes on the Gene and Courtney show?
Honestly, this might be Bob and Linda's best Valentine's Day since this show started. Just a makeout session while the kids are at school. No muss, no fuss.
Honestly, yes, that is. Yeah, we don't really celebrate Valentine's Day because our anniversary, like our marriage anniversary, is technically in February, but we celebrate the one in April just because it seems more important to us.
Yeah,
and there's nothing really to do. Everything's like you can't get a reservation. Everything's sold out. Like we don't really try very hard. We don't see the point.
It's all like the prefix stuff. Like when you do go places, it's just it's too much.
It's too much. I've worked so many Valentine's Days in my life too that I'm also like because like probably for this next one I'll be most likely working. And I like the cutesy shit. Not worth it.
Like I'm okay with like get me like a box like a heart-shaped box of Reese's and like a card. And I'm usually good. I don't really need anything huge.
We get the kids each a box of chocolate. We get our kids boxes of chocolate for Valentine's Day every year.
My mom does the same. She gets us a little thing of Lindt truffles and a Dunkin' Donuts gift card.
Oh, I mean, it's more of we get the little kid, like the kid boxes, and the kids, they get so excited. It's the cutest thing in the world. And then we just kind of look at each other like, okay, love you. See you on our anniversary in April. Like, because technically you'll love this. Technically, we did get married in February. The date for that was February 20th, 2020.
Oh my God.
So it's 02202020.
That's so many twos.
It's so many twos. It's all twos and zeros. We just did that to be funny. But the day that we like actually started dating and the day that it's actually very funny. We started dating April 14th.
Okay.
The day we closed on this house together, finally having something like with both our names on it was April 14th.
Oh, nice.
So like there's like big family big like important moments in our lives tend to happen around our anniversary. We actually like to celebrate because we didn't have a wedding. We didn't do any of that. We just signed a piece of paper. So we just thought, okay, we're going to put let's do a fun date at least for that. Yeah. Just to do it. But we actually celebrate the other one. Yeah. So it's a good time.
Yeah.
What did you score this?
So I love doing this to you. I gave it a 9 for plot, an 8 for character, and a 9 for personal. This gets a 26.
What?
I love doing this to you. I love making you think I hated an episode. This is much like I was so proud of myself for getting to make the Jordan Peele joke in the last episode because I've been holding on to that one for weeks. I love making you think I hated episodes.
Lauren? I did 7 across the board. So
okay, that's fair.
21. It's cute. It's enjoyable, but there's just parts of it that I'm like, Just like, Tina, can we stop obsessing with Jimmy Jr.? He's not worth anybody's energy.
I thought the chaos was fun. I thought the fact that this was a case of like, there are multiple plots happening, but they're all very well interconnected. Like, because
it's Valentine's Day.
It's Valentine's Day. You've got Bob going for the flowers. You've got Tina with the heart boxes, and you've got Jean's love story. Like, this was a very well interconnected chaos episode that I really enjoyed.
You ready to talk about episode 8, Sexy Dance Healing?
Yes, I am.
All right. Bob is struggling with coming up with his burgers of the day. He slips on some oil outside of Gyro's Capoeira. I can say Capoeira. I can't say it. Capoeira? Thank you. Studio and finds out he tore his labrum and is told he needs surgery. With the high cost of surgery, it is recommended to him to sue Gyro to cover the costs. A lawyer agrees to send a threat to sue and Gyro insists on helping Bob heal instead. Bob agrees to let Gyro help him, and they plan to meet for 10 sessions. The Belcher kids make up their own attorney letterhead and use it to threaten various people in their lives. Gyro is kicked out of his studio for living in it, so Bob allows him to teach from their basement. Gyro helps Bob work through his stress and believes the source of his stress is having to come up with constant burgers of the day. Gyro tells Bob to give up making burgers of the day, and he agrees to give them up for one day. Everyone freaks out when the burger of the day board is blank and the kids fake a cease and desist order on Gyro's door. They move on to threaten Mr. Fishodor instead, and he realizes quickly that they're faking their lawyer letterhead. Fishodor admits he has done the same before to his own staff, and the kids use that against him. Bob comes up with a new burger of the day while putting together a to-go order, and it upsets Gyro, and he insists on leaving, just as Fishodor agrees to let Gyro back to his old place. So lots of chaos in
Lots
this.
of chaos.
But what did you get for the vacant storefront?
That was escrow zone. Escrow for kids.
That no one needs that.
No.
Pest control truck.
Silence of the Ants pest control.
I like it.
And I've noticed if the pun is specific to a type of pest, that's usually the type of animal we see in the opening.
Mm-hmm.
So like
it's cool,
this,
right?
Yeah, so like this one is Silence of the Ants. So what we see is a bunch of very small dots that I assume to be ants. If it's more general, maybe we'll see a rat or something like that. But like they're getting very specific with the opening credits, which I find very interesting.
I love their opening credits, and like they get more fun as you go on. Like eventually, you're just gonna be. I think you're gonna love what happens later on in the show because they eventually add something to the opening credits that is just makes me happy how they connect things. How many burgers of the day did you get?
Okay, so I added in. I mean, I added in the one that Tina said. So with that one, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I guess 5 if you take out the one that Tina just randomly says. But I have
it's 5 without Tina because I only have the 5.
I liked the one that Tina added. So we have the Sage cheeseburger from the very beginning. It's a cheeseburger.
It's a cheeseburger.
Tina's edition of the lettuce ketchup burger comes with lettuce and ketchup, which is not a special, but it's a good pun.
It is a good pun.
It takes bun to no bun burger served on a fancy bun.
I like that one.
I do too. Head, shoulder, knees, and tomato burger comes with tomato. The I'm picklish burger, I'm guessing, comes with pickles. I didn't catch that part. And the runny out of time burger with thyme and a runny egg.
That one is actually really yummy. Just saying, like
that sounds delicious.
Delicious. So John Glasser does return as Gyro. I'm sure you picked up on who plays the lawyer, Tom Innocenti. I can't say his name.
That was Steve Buscemi, right?
That was Steve Buscemi, and I'm just laughing so much because in our last Bob's Burgers episode, we started talking about miracle workers, and I was like, Steve Buscemi plays God. Look who's here, Steve Buscemi.
Do you two think that God stays in heaven because he's afraid of what he created? Okay, Steve Buscemi and Spy Kids too.
I enjoy him in almost everything I've seen him in, except was it Reservoir Dogs or whatever that I watched, and I was like, I did not like Steve Buscemi in that.
No, he's good in the Big Lebowski though.
He's good in almost everything.
Yeah.
But then he has there's a couple here and there that you're like, dude, why? The title is a reference to the previous episode that featured Gyro.
I figured.
Which was Sexy Dance Fighting. Now we have Sexy Dance Healing. Tom Touchemont's name appears on the letterhead. He shows Bob, but on the end credits and the cast list and Fox press release, they changed the name to Tom Innocenti. One of the burgers of the day mentioned in this episode was, of course, the one you said. So the lettuce ketchup burger, the lettuce ketchup is also the name of a Bob's Burgers podcast originating from Tallahassee, Florida. So they pay attention apparently to the Bob's Burgers podcast that exist.
Good to know.
Which didn't know till today. Or yesterday, technically.
To be fair, the wikis are almost always fan run.
They usually are, but that being the lettuce ketchup, it scares me. In a promo video promoting this episode, Gyro's Capoeira studio is shown to be named Gyro Massage. Gyro, actually, no, G-Y. But in the final episode, it is named the Capoeira Center for Capoeira. So, but I kind of like the Gyro Massage is fucking funny.
Yeah.
The labrum referred to in this episode is the glenoid labrum. It is a lip-like projection of cartilage on the human scapula surrounding the joint between the humerus and the shoulder blade.
Good to know they got their science right.
So it's like, right, yeah, they actually, it's interesting. And the store Bob walks past before slipping on the massage oil is sit, stay, pet photography.
Mm-hmm. That's cute.
And I just want to start off with the line. And if that doesn't work, just take peyote, like in the old days.
Yep, that
I
was
wrote down a
Jean.
lot of lines.
Jean said that, right?
That was Jean. I have a lot, I think, that Jean said. And it's
Yeah.
just, they're so funny.
Yeah, this episode, I mean, because I was with Sandra first I was like, Sandra, please answer the fucking doctor.
Yeah.
But I was with her. The dude intentionally poured sandalwood oil on the street. Fucking sue him.
No, yeah, I'm with
Like,
Sandra too.
I mean, you'd have to get him to admit it like on tape for evidence, but like that was an intentional thing that he did. Because like, damn, but I knew it was I do my best not to read the descriptions that like Hulu has under episodes before we watch. I mean, sometimes I see the thumbnail, and sometimes it gives me an idea. Sometimes it doesn't.
Oh, it's the same with Once Upon a Time. I don't read the descriptions, but those thumbnails, man.
Sometimes they're helpful, sometimes they aren't. But I am looking at the thumbnail for the Brony episode that the name is escaping me right now. But this case, I wrote down like of course this is the Equestronauts. Thank you.
I had to think for a second.
So I was like, I knew this was gonna, based on the title, I knew this was gonna be a Gyro episode. And this time he did have nipples.
He did have nipples this time. Fuck. Forgot about the nipples.
Wasn't that like the name of the episode that we was like, did you know he didn't have nipples or something like that?
That was an early episode.
Because it's like one of the first like 6 episodes of like the series.
Yeah.
So.
I would never go back to that doctor's office though. Like you're just screaming, Sandra.
Yeah, just like just I mean,
why?
she should have answered the doctor, but like,
why is he yelling?
Yeah, why doesn't he have like a page system or a phone? I don't know.
Walk out and find her real quick. It's just a doctor's office. It's not like it's, humongous.
I don't know. But as the episode was going, I went, Jairo, are you going to prescribe capoeira for his shoulder? Yes, the answer is yes.
One of the lines I wrote down was just, what's a labrum? It's the middle part of your wiener. No! Because Linda being Linda.
Yep. But I was thinking that like the longer this went on, like I feel like the longer Bob waits to have the surgery, the worse it's gonna be. I wasn't expecting the massages and the spiritual healing to work. And towards the end of the episode, at some point, I wrote down, "Oh, Bob would absolutely get taken in by a cult."
Oh, absolutely.
100% he would be.
Especially if it was like a sexy man, like Jairo in charge, because it's bisexual Bob. I did write down though that if a capoeira instructor told me to take off all of my clothes for a massage, I'd be very concerned. Like, because the whole underwear face thing, I was like, this crosses a boundary.
Also, why was his massage table in complete plain view of the giant ass windows? He wasn't behind the privacy screen.
Nope.
But Jairo and his charisma and all that, it reminded me, because I keep seeing clips. I've only seen so many episodes of The Orville, but it reminded me of the character Derulio, of how his pheromones make people like just inexplicably attracted to him. That's what it reminded me of.
So I that's actually one of my obsessions.
I know.
I do. I love The Orville. I swear to God, if they don't make more fucking seasons, I'm gonna be so mad. Like, we check periodically if there's any news out. And that's like Seth MacFarlane's baby.
I would believe that. I've only seen.
He's still pushing to have it made.
I've only seen so many. I've only seen so many episodes of it. What I mostly see is clips that just pop up on TikTok that remind me, oh, I should go back to watching this, because I've probably seen entire episodes through clips without realizing it.
Honestly, and it is a really, really good show.
Oh, it is. I've loved what I've watched.
I am obsessed with it, and I know a lot of people are like, it's just like a ripoff of Star Trek, and I'm like, well, yeah, Seth MacFarlane's a Trekkie.
It's a Star Trek spoof. That's literally the point.
That's literally the point. And I just have like my own little like girl crush on Seth MacFarlane. I can't help it. Have you heard the man sing? Like, it's not even just like his acting and other projects he's done, because he's a Family Guy and the stupid teddy bear. But like when it comes to stuff like The Orville, I love this man. Love him.
Not to get completely derailed, but
no, it's Bob's Burgers.
It's Bob's Burgers. The woman that plays the mom on Ted, so like that, with the scene that like the crab scene that like that the sound has been gone viral on TikTok. I had been seeing her so many places and so many things. It took me forever to put together that not only was she the voice of Mama Imelda in Coco, but also she is one of the friends in Legally Blonde.
Yeah.
I was like, I've been staring at her face for so long. Once I put that, because I saw her in a clip of something else completely and her hair was short. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
wait a second.
I do recommend finishing the Orville though,
I
just
do
so
want
I
to go
can
back to it.
talk about it with somebody else that's not my husband,
Mm-hmm.
because I've slowly started watching Star Trek with Steven. We started with I want to say Kirk, like we're
Mm-hmm.
with the William Shatner,
Yeah.
because they're honestly, it holds up. Like William Shatner is William Shatner, but and a lot of the episodes are pretty similar to, like, they're all kind of the same story written in a different way
Yeah.
over and over again, but they're not terrible. Like I can watch an episode at a time
Yeah.
and I'm okay. I can't sit there and binge it. That is not a bingeable show whatsoever, but it holds up because I've been kind of embarrassed. I've grown up on Star Wars, grown up on Lord of the Rings, grown up on all like the really nerdy stuff
Mm-hmm.
except for Star Trek. And so whenever then there's so many references out there, especially just in, like I said, Seth MacFarlane's work, because he's a Trekkie.
Mm-hmm.
He'd do something and my husband's laughing and I'm just like, I don't get it. So I started watching Star Trek, but no, the Orville, oh my God. It's
I
one of my
have
favorite
seen
shows.
in their entirety. I have seen 4 episodes. I'm now learning that the next episode I have to watch has the guest star of Charlize Theron. Apparently,
Oh yeah, you'll enjoy that
okay.
one.
So, and I haven't watched it in a while. 'Cause it for a while, the Orville was the show that when I can't figure out what I want to watch while I eat, that's what I
Mm-hmm.
watch. And then and then it went back to Ghosts, and then now it's just been YouTube. But I will go back to watching the Orville because I really I enjoy the clips. Like every time I see the clips
Mm-hmm.
pop up on TikTok, I stop and watch them, even though I have no context for what's going on.
It's really well written.
Yeah.
And it's like the characters are just a joy, because the other guy that's with him in it, I can't remember, Steve. He plays Steve in American Dad. Can't remember his name.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy him in it too. He's a really good humor base, but they eventually go into like his romance story and like
Mm-hmm.
finding romance when you're like doing what you're doing,
Yeah.
traveling around like that. But he sings a lot in American Dad as his character, who's a teenage boy.
Okay.
So that can be, it's
Mm-hmm.
it's American Dad, but he gets to sing as himself
Yeah. Oh, that's
in
nice.
the Orville, and it's the sweetest thing.
Aw.
I just, I can't wait for you to watch more. It's like, it's how I was. It's like my Ted Lasso. I love
Mm-hmm.
Ted Lasso. I love the Orville. I really, really enjoy wholesome TV shows,
Yeah.
even if I don't look to be the person who would.
Yeah.
Like I watched Scream and Scream 2 for comfort last night. Like
There needs to be a balance here.
there's a balance.
So the healing sessions were interesting, but then I towards I
Mhm.
mean I wrote this down at one point that Louise took the lesson here of letters from a lawyer opens doors. She took that message loud and clear. And I kind of liked that B plot a little more than I liked our A plot. Like I found that to just be a little
Yeah.
more interesting. But then towards the end I wrote, Gyro, you are making him stop doing the burgers of the day. Why are you a monster? And then with Teddy's response, I went, oh fuck no, I'm Teddy.
Oh no. You are.
That's a little with the burgers of the day. Like that's a little bit. I'm like, oh god, I'm Teddy.
You're Teddy.
Oh, I hate that so much.
And I love so many lines in this too, though, when they go, you married that, and now he's Gyro's plaything. I loved that one. And then I farted up the shower before he got in, and you know what he said?
Namaste. That son of a bitch.
That son of a bitch. I was like, yes, Louise. And my last and favorite line, your buttocks look stressed like they have a test tomorrow.
I wrote down he's not just a shoulder shaman. And then by taking our case to the top, Beyonce?
This episode, like, so much better than the Gene and Courtney show, I have to say. But this one, even though it's Gyro doing what he's doing, Bob does get healed, but through that, he does heal his stress. Like,
yeah.
Gyro's helps him heal his stress, which then brings back his creativity, which I don't think Gyro realizes is, like, what he actually needs.
Yeah.
Because Gyro gets all upset. He's like, why are you doing this? This is your stress. And he's just like, actually, I don't think that's the source of his stress. His stress is everything. He's has no money. He's running his dream restaurant. He's trying to raise 3 children, and he's married to Linda.
Yeah.
The
mother knot.
His stress.
The mother knot is not the issue here.
Now that sounds like something out of a sci-fi.
That it does.
A very specific type of sci-fi.
I'm sure there's a book like that.
Murphy's Law, man.
Oh, it definitely exists. There's no way it doesn't.
Definitely exists.
There's no way it doesn't.
You seem to have enjoyed this episode though, even if you are realizing you're Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, I did enjoy this one. So this one score-wise actually does worse than the last one, weirdly enough, because I just really I can't stand Gyro. My brain makes no sense most days.
None
Um,
whatsoever.
this one gets 7s for plot and character and a 6 for personal. This one actually got a 20.
What?
These
You
scores,
sound like you enjoyed
I
it.
enjoyed talking to you about it. I here's the thing, I always
What?
have very this is the beauty of me talking the way that I talk. I always have very strong opinions about things. And
Mhm.
sometimes, whether that's a good strong opinion or a bad or a strong opinion just in general, not meaning that I enjoyed it as much, very often they sound very similar. Because
Yeah, they do.
if you recall the Mazeltina episode, I sounded very stern about that the entire time, and it had like a 26 or something like that at the end of the day. Like, my brain is an enigma, and this is what I say. I feel like our numbering system. This is partially why I wanted to do a numbering system as well as just the
Yeah.
chaos notes, because I think the numbering system requires us to be a little more critical about the way we think about the shows. But like, it gets to like I think our root feelings about things and how much we perceive in
Mhm.
these episodes versus the chaos notes is just for me. It's just the thoughts I'm having while it's me talking to the show through my computer.
Yeah.
So like I'm still gonna have fun with this because at the end of the day, it's still fun to watch. 20 is not a terrible score. It's not a great score, but it's not a terrible score at the end of the day. So like, I'm still gonna have fun with the notes that I'm taking. I'm still gonna have fun talking to you about an episode. There's very few times with Bob's Burgers that I need to yell at you about things, quite like with Once Upon a Time. It's just
Like Gyro getting rid of burgers of the day.
exactly this monster getting rid of the burgers of the day. But like, it's my brain is an enigma. What can I say?
It's kind of I really like that we're doing the numbers and doing this type of thing because this is something that after we're said and done with this and probably onto something else because knowing us we'll do this for as long as humanly possible
Oh yeah.
because it brings us so much joy.
Mm-hmm.
Like yes, is it work? Yes. It brings us so much joy to do this, but we'll
Mm-hmm.
be able to look at these stats in like 20 years and like rewatch these things and really be like, okay, this is how I felt about it at this age, at this time. I literally have my thoughts, my
Mm-hmm.
notes, my stats all at this point in my life. I can go and when I'm 20 years from now, I can look back at this and go, "Oh, that's how my opinions change." Like it's
Yeah.
really it's almost like an insight to also like the human brain, emotions
Mm-hmm.
and just it's so cool. I
It
like what we
is.
do.
That's why I
It's
liked.
so
I'm
cool.
glad I suggested it when we started this podcast because the reason why I suggested it, I think I've said this before on one of the once episodes, was when we started the podcast, I was doing what I called a statistical analysis rewatch, which is very hard to
Mhm.
say. The word statistical is very hard to say. And which was more or less the same setup if I had a different setup of categories, but it was the same idea of there was numbers per category, and then I would write down my thoughts as I watched the episode. And it's interesting to see, and I had to stop that when we started the podcast because it didn't make sense to be in season 5 and season 1 at the same time. That seemed counterintuitive to my brain. But it's been interesting on certain episodes to go back and compare because I mean, like, that stats rewatch was about a year previously to
Mhm.
where we were on the podcast. And even in a year, I mean, a lot of stuff is the same, but things do change in that year because, like, every time I watch it, I find new things. So it's been
Yeah.
really cool just to compare even 1 year off about how I feel about things.
And it's a really cool way to do like an insight on the media that we consume because we do, of
Mm-hmm.
course, our specials, Patreon, everything. We
Mm-hmm.
discuss things on a I guess more broader setup as well, especially when we do like our unedited coffee chats where
Yes.
we're just like talking about like just different things we believe in, things
Mm-hmm.
we do, things we love. Like it's funny growing up loving all these different things with TV. And it's just something you enjoy. And then you reach our age where we're like, no, I want to analyze. And
Yeah.
it's just, we don't have jobs where I don't have a job where you analyze things. So for me, it's just kind of like fun to be, okay, I get to use this side of my brain right now and have
Yeah.
a lot of fun with it.
I don't get to
So
analyze fun things. I was talking about this
true.
with my best friend because I was telling her the same thing I was telling you about that time that I was on someone else's podcast, and I was like, I realize I come at Once Upon a Time from a very analytical and very academic perspective because I've done a lot of research into this type of analysis. And she was like, "Oh yeah, I do that for Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's like at our age, that's just
Hmm.
what you have to do when you've watched it so many times. Like that's
Honestly.
all
And
that's left."
like honestly, if you watch the Orville, man, we're doing a special on the Orville just because I love it. Like I will talk about that show for days, just like we decided to do a Spoonie episode just
Mm-hmm.
because I had you watch, Ted Lasso,
Yeah.
like because it really does affect our lives and everything going on with us in such a way, which they are. they are bringing Ted Lasso back, and I have theories, but I'm going to give you my score first.
Once I see a very official season 4 is happening, then I will finish season 3 of Ted Lasso.
From what I'm seeing, it's okay.
I've seen a lot of speculation, but yeah, go do your score.
Score, I did a plot and character 8 and personal 9.
Okay.
So this is a 25 for me.
We kind of flipped. It was interesting.
We kind of flipped on that one, which I do find very interesting.
Yeah.
But Ted Lasso. So my assumption with that is that if they are doing it, you don't know how they left off, but with the way they left off with the finale, I see Rebecca and Roy pooling into a different team.
Gotcha.
Which would be really, really fun if they do it a certain way, because it'd be a women's soccer team.
Okay.
So I need you to finish Ted Lasso. Because if this is happening, that is my theory and the way they are going to go with it.
Okay.
And if they do, you know what that means.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
We're going to have a lot of fun.
Yeah, that one. With that one, I mean, I'll make my joke of like maybe the Women's Professional Hockey League will finally encourage me to do enough research to write my Sapphic Go Figure book.
This will, if anything, this will just fuel for you like to finally maybe understand Cleat Cute a little bit better.
Maybe, possibly, yeah. Because that one, that one really did teach me how little I know about soccer.
I didn't like it. I read it and I'm like, oh, cool. I understand 99% of this. And then you were like, I don't know what's going on.
No, but exactly that I knew nothing. But How You Get the Girl, basketball, solid. Knew everything they were talking about.
I would never understand that.
I played basketball a lot longer than I played. I played soccer as a 5-year-old, and at that point, I really just understood we run that way and kick the ball, and when they come here, we stop the ball. And I wasn't doing a whole lot of running. So
I married a Steven.
Yeah.
We watched. I mean, what am I saying? I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch Rapinoe's last
that you did
game. I can't say anything.
You cannot blame your husband.
I can't blame my husband. I woke up at 5 a.m. to watch Rapinoe's last ever soccer match. Yeah. So that's on me.
That it is. Thank you all for listening. Join us next time when we discuss Once Upon a Time, episode 309, Save Henry. Don't forget to like, rate, and follow the podcast wherever you listen, so you can be notified every time we publish a new episode. Follow us at OBDYK_pod on Instagram and TikTok. And if you'd like to join our Patreon, you can find the link with more details in our show notes.
This has been an episode of Okay, But Did You Know? A TV and media podcast. It was hosted by Katie and Lauren and edited by Katie.